Hello, this is Tristan. Thank you for joining me. Today we are making lamb chops, but not the ones you might be thinking of. Instead of using the loin chops with the long bone and the small medallions of meat that are often served rare, these are lamb shoulder chops. They come from the front of the animal and contain bone and collagen that make them perfect for cooking long until the meat is super tender. Not only are they great for people who might not be into eating rare meat, but they are also way more affordable than loin chops, and the recipe is very simple. I first saw this dish presented by Lidia Bastianich and loved it. We marinate the meat in a simple mix of wine, olive oil, and vegetables, roast it all together in the oven for a couple hours, and then make a simple sauce from the veggies and roasting juices. So let's get into it. I have here 4 thick-cut lamb shoulder chops. You might luck out and find them at a big grocery store, but there's a chance you might have to talk to a butcher directly. But it won't take them any time to prepare them for you, and they will think highly of you for knowing about this lesser appreciated cut. In total, you want around 6 pounds, about 1.5 kilograms of meat, and you want them to be quite thick, about 1.5 inches or 4 centimeters. I start by simply seasoning them all over with salt and fresh black pepper. Now we can get on with the rest of the recipe, which is very simple indeed. We are making a rustic marinade, and the foundation of that marinade are those most common aromatic vegetables. I have 2 onions, 2 carrots, and 2 big ribs of celery. And first I just get those carrots washed and peeled, take the skin off the onions, and then I just chop all of them roughly. Not too thin, not too thick. And for a bit more punch, I also have 6 cloves of garlic, which are peeled and then smashed and roughly chopped. All of that goes into a mixing bowl, and for herbs I have a few branches of sage, and I will just remove those leaves from the woody stems and give them a rough chop. Rosemary and thyme would also work well here. With everything in a bowl, we can move on to the liquid components of the marinade. I've got a 1/4 cup or about 30 milliliters of red wine vinegar, about 2 cups of a dry white wine, it's about 500 milliliters, feel free to eyeball it, and then about 1/2 cup or 120 milliliters of a nice extra virgin olive oil. This is the last of my bottle from the south of France, so in a way the French are helping the Italians out with the lamb today. And now that the marinade is complete, we can pour it on top of our lamb chops. And for one last ingredient, a simple stick of cinnamon, which I will break up just a little bit. Lydia pointed out when she made this recipe, the ingredient is not entirely traditional for a recipe from a more inland mountainous part of Italy. It's a bit of a Mediterranean Moorish influence, but I tell you, this little bit of warm spice really rounds out the flavor and nicely complements the lamb. Now, we want this lamb to marinate for a good 24 hours or at least overnight, and be sure to give the chops a turn every couple of hours to make sure the marinade is getting in there. If you use a plastic bag, it will be a little easier, or in my case, I switched over to this food storage box. The next day, you can see the acidic marinade has turned the meat a little gray, which is normal, and we are ready to roast. I get a roasting tray out and start by putting down about half the vegetables from the marinade. Then I add the chops, then the rest of the veggies, and the liquid goes in. And then I also add about 3 cups or 700 milliliters of vegetable stock, though chicken stock would be nice here, or if you're really in a pinch, just add water. Now I just cover the whole thing with foil, cut a few slits for ventilation, and it goes into an oven which has been preheated to 425 degrees Fahrenheit, 220 Celsius. This will go for about 2.5 hours. After the first 30 minutes, I check in to see how we are doing. It's looking good, and I just want to flip all those chops over before putting them all back in the oven. I promise the aroma in your kitchen is going to be incredible, and you will smell just how much personality that one piece of cinnamon can bring. After an hour of cooking, the foil comes off, and the chops continue to roast uncovered, giving them another turn halfway through the second hour of cooking. Now, everyone's oven is a little different, and the thickness of your chops might be also, so just keep a close eye on them around the 2-hour mark. As you can see, mine were looking really beautiful. They have taken on a nice dark color, and some of the smaller bones pull away freely, but the meat overall isn't falling apart. It still has a bit of give. For me, I really like this texture, but if you want them to be completely soft, let them go a little longer. Once they are at the perfect tenderness, I remove the chops from the pan, and then I pour the roasting juices and all those veggies into a food mill. If you don't have a food mill, you could simply push all of it through a sieve using the back of a spoon. Either way, once processed, you will end up with this really flavorful, albeit rusting looking sauce. I pour that sauce back into the roasting pan, add the chops, and then give it a final blast in the oven to make sure everything is nice and hot. And then you are ready to serve. I put my chops on a plate and then poured the sauce over, but honestly I think it maybe looked even better if it was just served in the pan on the table. This is a simple dish, so I think simple sides work best. I did bulgur wheat, but roast potatoes or rice would work perfectly also. And there you have it, a very rustic and delicious lamb dish. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the presentation of this simple dish. It's a favorite of mine. What's great is that once you understand the underlying techniques, you can easily change things up to give it a different taste. Change up the herbs, cider instead of wine, maybe even more spices. Make it your own. Be sure to show appreciation by hitting the like button, subscribe for more videos like this, and comment if you need any clarification on the recipe or just want to share your thoughts. Until next time, cheers.